To be short and concise, let me introduce the speakers today. Mr. Istok Škerlić, Director of Public Institute for Entrepreneurship, Izola, from Municipality of Izola, which acts, as you know, also as the EUSAIR Facility Point Environment Quality Project Partner. Dr. Mitja Brical from Slovenian Ministry of Environment and Spatial Planning, the EUSAIR Environmental Quality Thematic Steering Group Coordinator, and Dr. Senad Oprašić, Head of the Department for Environmental Protection at the Ministry of Foreign Trade and Economic Relations of Bosnia and Herzegovina. Also the coordinator of the thematic steering group on environmental quality within the EUSAIR strategy. Before we begin, I would like to inform you that any of your questions for our speakers which might occur during their speeches can be written in the chat dialog. You may find it in the top right corner and will be answered after the end within the Q&A session. And please mute your microphones for the best audio experience. So, Mr. Škerlić, would you please tell us in brief more about the MACROSTRATEGY, previous forums, and Tirana declaration?
Yeah, thank you very much, and warm welcome also from my side. And I would just like to say that the conference is also recorded. So, just for some insight at the beginning about the macro strategies, we know that at the European level there are 4 macro strategies: the Baltic macro strategy, the Adriatic-Ionian, the Alpine, and the Danube strategy. And from the map you can see also the map of the Adriatic-Ionian macro strategy, which includes all the countries you can see and the Adriatic part of Italy. So we are here in the Adriatic-Ionian area. The strategies are followed by the funds of Interreg-Adrian programs, and the names of the programs correspond also to the macro strategy. So our macro strategy is followed by the Interreg-Adrian program, which gives the funds for the support and the running of the operation. In particular, our Adriatic-Ionian strategy is divided in 4 pillars. You can see from the slide. For us today, it's the most important is the environment quality pillar, which is coordinated by Slovenia and Bosnia and Herzegovina together. Let's talk about the forums. In the past, we had already 7 forums. The first one was in Dubrovnik in 2016. Then it was followed by the Greece in Ioannina, where you can see that there were present more than 200 companies and more than 400 participants. The peak was in Catania Forum, and followed by Montenegro, where we in both these we had about 300 companies in present and about 700 people present in the area. Unfortunately, at the last 2 or 3 forums, there was the pandemic COVID issue that, of course, make the event in online forum. So the Belgrade forum in Serbia, the 5th EUSAIR Forum, was complete in online form. Then in next year, in 2021, it was the Izola's Forum in Slovenia, where completely also online, where we introduced the youth participation. That was the first time, and followed by The seventh forum, in Tirana, that was the last forum in May, between 16th and 18th May, where were present also the youth participant, which we will speak a little bit later, and about 300 persons were present from the entire area. The forum was in hybrid mode, so I can say that the participation was still affected by the COVID situation. If we move to the main messages of the countries from the forum, which are expressed in the Tirana Declaration, which has been approved by the governments of Albania, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Croatia, Greece, Italy, Montenegro, North Macedonia, San Marino, Serbia, and Slovenia. So at the beginning of the declaration, there are some general but very important statements, like that all the governments are appreciating the contribution of the EUSAIR, strengthening the cooperation in the area, and strengthening also the international peace, which is founded upon freedom, equity, justice, rule of law, and good neighborhood relations. In this sense, also the Tirana Declaration enhanced the voice of the young people in the EUSAIR, promoting the EU values and the integration process, which are always important for our work. In the second part, the Tirana Declaration stress a little bit more technician policies that we appreciate the effective support of the governance of our project EUSAIR Facility Point, and also the strengthening of the collaboration in the embedding process with the implementation of the flagship so-called strategic projects at the Adriatic-Ionian level. As TSG3, we have 4 flagships which were presented in the previous press conferences, ASOSCOP 3, MSP, ICZM, PET-HABECO, that are more in detail also presented at the website of our project. At the end, I would like to also strengthen the recognition of all these countries for our effort and organizing with partnership between 2 countries for the first time. The last Mediterranean Coast and Macro-Regional Strategy Week in Izola was organized by Slovenia and North Macedonia together. And officially, San Marino was also approved as a partner of a participate country in the EUSAIR. So we were glad that the family is enlarging, and this is also a recognition for the good work which is done by our project. At the end, there were also some additional pointing in the declaration. Of course, the international success of the TSG3 in the implementation for the first time of NAMRI's project as implementation of the ASOSCOP flagship. And what is more important, and this will be further on presented by Mitja Britzel, the recognition of the Green Deal and the EU biodiversity strategy as the main point of the Europe development for the future.
Okay, thank you, Istok. And this is a very good start for Mr. Britzel. Mr. Britzel, can you please explain us the key outcomes of the forum and also about the TSG3 panel session, which hosted really renowned and great regional experts?
Thank you very much, and also very much welcome from my side to this important, I believe, briefing of our results together achieved by my co-coordinator, my colleague Sina Toprasic, and I'm really proud to report to you about our achievements. You are all familiar with biodiversity loss, which is what is key trees for human. Almost half of global GDP is linked to nature. This is, of course, very much also measurable. How important is biodiversity also for the economic, not just for, let's say, green parties or lovers or watch bird associations, but for economy, then connection between biodiversity loss and climate change and pandemics. Biodiversity and healthy environment, it's very strictly and very clear connected, and restoring biodiversity as a core part of the recovery is of course very important as a green infrastructure to work now in planning our future green let's say future. This is very much in the focus of our work, and now EU biodiversity strategy with clear goals till 2030 are in front of us, where the facts are that at least 30% of the EU's land area and of 30% of the EU's marine area should be protected. This is a goal, this is our target, and we are now in very different, let's say, reality. We have a lot to do. At least 1/3 of protected areas, that is 10% of the EU's land area and 10% of the EU marine area, should be strictly protected. This is, again, very clear task, and implementation is ahead of us in the next period of next years, let's say, and provision on effective management and restoration is also very important issue when we are planning our future with our developers together, local communities, and of course countries along the shared sea. With this, I'm touching this, I believe, very clear picture that this slide represents the complexity of marine spatial planning in practice. We are now living in this fragmented, let's say, reality of implementation of the European and national legal frameworks. You can see those, let's say, silos approach, which is, of course, reality, and with very, very few, let's say, linkages, interactions, or synergies among. And idea is to use those, let's say, of course, human resources, money, and to, of course, no new money is needed, but to connect those silos with the approach which is cooperation for healthy coastal, marine, and river environment on transboundary level, with new culture of dialogue, a new culture of project preparations, where we do have some already good achievements, but we are working very hard to get it more, and that this will become new culture of transboundary cooperation along the shared sea. This is in front of us the answer that to complexity that of marine spatial planning are not just the blue corridors as such, but this is the network how to, of course, declare and promote marine protected areas as, let's say, very valuable assets for the users on the coast and sea, on the shared coast and sea ecosystem, for ecosystem services and goods for the healthier let's say future, taking into account also water, food, and climate security. This is the way to go, and when we are respecting this green infrastructure, blue and green corridors and protected areas, then we are on the way where this green switch becoming reality, and it's our response to the situation which is now not very good. so far. With this, we are of course coming to the documents of European integration and green agenda for the Western Balkans, where those issues are in the center, and recognizing blue growth green agenda for Western Balkans and European Green Deal as innovative instruments toward modern, climate neutral, resource efficient and competitive economies. This is, of course, starting point to really demonstrate the switch with those elements in project preparation phase and implementation. Promotion, innovative maritime and marine growth in Adriatic-Ionian region and sustainable, of course, blue economy. Marine protected areas beyond national jurisdiction on biodiversity was, of course, that's why the main issue of our pillar session of environmental policy on 17 May in 7th Forum in Albania, where we present our achievements, our proposals, and our speakers, our experts, Andrei Sovins with the analysis of marine protected areas, with the proposal for the next measures, and our legal experts of international law with colleagues from Italy. They present Mitya Gerbec, the results of the study for marine protected areas in Adriatic-Ionian region, with particular emphasis on transboundary marine protected areas. Then the director of the Hellenic Marine Institute, Vasiliki Vasilopoulou, very much underlined importance of marine protected area networks on transboundary integrated marine spatial planning. This is the way to really change existing approach and enhance quality and health of our sea. And then the Davor Turchan, regional and bilateral environmental cooperation is for him, the DG Environment, let's say, staff, extremely essential to really contribute to the implementation of the European biodiversity strategy, and on the other hand, the European maritime policy and fishery policy, which should really become sustainable in practice. The Stavros Antoniadis from the Secretariat of UNEP-MAP, Coordination Unit of Mediterranean Action Plan, of course, contribute that this is very much important also for the implementation of the Barcelona Convention, where the ECAP, ecosystem approach, is in the center of planning the human activities and economic use of coast and sea in the future, where the green switch should be demonstrated. With this, we of course all remind us to the studies and levels of protection found in the marine protected areas in the region in Adriatic-Ionian, where the picture is not let's say optimal, very much let's say is ahead of us to do, and only 3.5 protected areas are in let's say now in the region, and strictly protected only 0.07 are strictly protected, what is far below our targets of the 10%. With this, we of course very much detected where potential areas for future, let's say, to get transboundary managed protected areas exist on the north Mid and South Adriatic, and also very much realistic. We also indicated where the conflicts are, where are moderate, and where are very much, of course, the problem which should be managed with this marine spatial planning approach. And we believe that with this, we are coming to the next steps from the biodiversity conservation perspective on the local, national, transboundary and EU level, what is manageable, and for what it's very important to say there are funds behind to of course moving in this direction with transboundary agreed approach. This is one of, let's say, proposals what the next step should be: extension of existing networks, national marine protected areas, Natura 2000, and other networks, establishment of one or more SPAMI areas, special protected areas. Then we do have also proposal for sectoral other measures, including PSSA, particularly sensitive sea areas, and what is very important from IMO perspective and for the shipping industry and traffic, and possible combination of different legal basis instruments which already exist in the Mediterranean, for example, Strait of Bonifacio in Liguria, and we are very much sure that this is the way to go, and that pragmatic elements or tools are ahead of us. Now, we should, of course, just encourage the dialogue, transboundary dialogue, to prepare the project in this direction. This is somehow also the outcome of our session, which we summarized in 5, let's say, points: identification of potential areas for future protection in the region and in the countries. Then second is our proposal for establishment of the action plan of pillar quality of environment level with clear objectives supporting identification and designation of marine protected areas. Third is reinforcement of existing national activities of partners in the countries in combination with transnational macro-regional approaches using the blue and green corridors, which are, of course, addressing ecosystem services for important species and to interact with other sectors. The fourth is extension of existing networks of national marine protected areas, Natura 2000 networks, and transboundary management, of course, with possible combination of different legal basic and instruments, legal and basin level, of course, approach. With this, we believe is very good consensus behind. With this, we believe among the, let's say, experts, our governments along the shared sea in Adriatic-Ionian region, they do have, let's say, roadmap how to go forward. And with this, I believe we are very much in line with the implementation of European Green Deal in shared Adriatic-Ionian region, taking very seriously and on concrete way green infrastructure, which we all share. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Brical. Dr. Senad Oprašić, Bosnia and Herzegovina is taking over the EUSAIR presidency. How do you see briefly the work done, and of course, what would be Bosnia's priorities in the next year? Please. If you turn on the microphone, please.
Thank you. It's okay now. Thank you very much for giving me opportunity to say something. Actually, I would like to thank Dr. Mitja Bricen for the excellent introduction in these activities what Bosnia and Herzegovina will conduct in our presidency in 2022-2023. And from our side, we propose to the national coordinator some activity that could be included in our priorities, which are important for environment, which are important for the climate changes, and for all activities. So, in that sense, we propose, having in mind this this problematic situation in many activities. Also, I would like to say, but it is not topic of our today press conference, that colleagues from tourism and also from energy sector proposed its priorities, and then we will combine all these activities which we presented and then decide about priorities. This is some draft of priorities for the Bosnia and Herzegovina, so we can see it in environmental management in a sustainable way, with the development of a process to change the approach to increase production of energy from renewable sources. You know, we are facing with the problem with energy security in this moment, and we have to put our forces in the maximum speed and try to develop the best renewable sources of energy and to become energy safe continent. Climate changes adaptation process has to be improved. We are meeting with a lot of problems like floods, like droughts, like wildfires and the others, and because of that we have the protect ourselves. This is more important than mitigation, but it is similar. This is a parallel process, and we have to improve both of them. But adaptation is really, really important because it is important for the citizens. With the circular economy, which is a really important topic, we have to improve our attitude towards nature and the resources, and we have to, at our disposal, especially in the reuse of waste, which given the state of disposal now is in fact of raw material in the wrong place. With this, from circular economy, we have to reach zero waste management. We have to reshuffle our waste policy in our countries, non-EU countries, which is important, and we will try to be leader in that process. Also, special treatment should be given to the waste plastic, which is in the scourge of today and is visible through the marine litter, like sea waste, which was created on land and reach the sea in various ways. One continent of plastic waste floods the world seas. Next slide, please. Hello? Is it okay with the communication? Next slide. Next priority is the loss of, okay, the loss of biodiversity and the constant problem that arise in this regard encourage us to work intensively on the development of special protected area, as Mitja mentioned before. And all our priorities are in accordance with policy we have in our EUSAIR strategy and with our flagships we promoted in the previous. That should be the driving forces to the ecosystem approach in addressing the threat to nature. Also, protection and responsible management of nature are a condition for the survival of people in this area. The application of nature-based solution can be contribute to these positive processes and help us defend ourselves against possible disasters that we often produce through our own negligence. Next slide, please. Actually, the next steps and activities will be taken place during the period of EUSAIR will be visible through roundtables on topics listed as priorities in TSG3. We will organize workshops on each pillar, workshops related to interpillar cooperation, which is really important since that environment is really cross-cutting pillar, and because of that we have to organize their activities to connect other pillars in these activities. Cooperation with other macro-regional strategies, Mr. Istok Škerlić presented, the territory of that, and on the map, the territory of that three strategy, and also, of course, our EUSAIR strategy. We'll also see Coast Day celebration we will organize this year in September in Bosnia and Herzegovina. Last year, we were first time organized that celebration. It was some part of activity we are conducted during some project activities. That's mean coastal area management plan. We are conducting it via unit map, and also in that celebration participated another pillar coordinator, Dr. Mitja Bricen, addressing on the best way as he know. Also involvement of young people in all activities as panelists, moderators, lecturers, session panels, and various discussion about the topics which are of some of our priorities and that will be conducted in the next period, in the next 1 year period. Next slide. Also, we will try to raise awareness, public awareness of the needs to work on the implementation of EUSAIR to achieve better connection of this area with the EU through work on implementation, especially connected to the university and scientific research institution with these activities. Media appearance, this is one of them, and also other activities that will include all structures of civil society and school, from kindergarten through primary and secondary school, of course, university I mentioned before. And in these activities, we see a role of NGOs very, very important to promote and to implement this EU strategy. I would like just to say some a few words about activities we are conducted via coastal area management plan in Bosnia and Herzegovina. It was started in June 2020, and then will be finished in September 2022 this year. And this project structure is conducted in actually divided in two parts. Actually, it was horizontal activities and also individual activities integrated into coastal plan. You see, the project horizontal activities are project coordination, integration, and dissemination of results, capacity building, awareness raising, special data, infrastructure, information system, and data management. And those individual activity integrated in the coastal plan include institutional mechanism for ICCM, marine habitats in protected area, monitoring marine coastal environment. Also, we drafted national contingency plan, and we're going further. That national contingency plan has to be adopted by the Council of Ministers of Bosnia and Herzegovina, and we are starting to prepare action plan for that contingency plan, and we will send a request to the REMPEC in Malta to approve activities and support us with the experts that will help us to define our action plan for the contingency plan. Sustainable tourism, coastal and hinterland, and climate change adaptation are the activities that are promoted through this project. The main expected outputs of the CAMP project for Bosnia and Herzegovina are a coastal plan for the project area, incorporating inputs of several individual activities, increase capacity of all stakeholders, especially at the local level, raise awareness of coastal process and integrated management, final integrated project report with proposal for follow-up activities. As I mentioned before, celebration of Coastal Day in Bosnia and Herzegovina will be a permanent process in the future. We also drafted 20 project proposals of sustainable tourism on coastal zone and hinterland, and also 5 project proposals of adaptation on climate changes in the municipality. Also, we are planning to even we have a small part of Adriatic Sea. We have a plan to support activities on protected area. Mitya mentioned about the small areas that are protected and special protected area, really critical time, in critical level. And because of that, Bosnia and Herzegovina will propose some activities that will be very much in activities that to increase our protected area. Even Bosnia is a small part, as I mentioned. We decide to go in that process, and we will see how much will be area of that protected area, of that protected zone. So it is something what I want to say, and I'm ready for any questions. And thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Oprašić. With this, we conclude the press conference, but we have received one question from Montenegro for Dr. Oprašić. It says, Bosnia and other countries in the Western Balkans have done little to build an effective system of garbage disposal and environment protection, despite formally seeking entry into the European Union and adopting some of the EU's laws and regulations. What strategies will you use during the presidency to achieve better results, if applicable?
Thank you for that question. This is really important question for non-EU country. When you pass through that country, you can see a lot of garbage, you can see a lot of wild landfill, wild depots, which is really spoiling all the process and activities we are conducting in waste management. In that sense, we have to include circular economy as important tools for the reduce waste management, to reduce waste in our area. And in that sense, we prepare a roadmap of also we prepare some strategies, specific strategies on circular economy in our countries. And I think it will be only one of activities, awareness raising, and separate waste disposal has to be some of the next activities, and I hope that we have no intention to complete that process, but we have intention to start with that process and to use waste as energy resources and raw materials, and to reuse it in our future activities, since that circular economy has its several reuse, refuse, recycle, and many other that will be included. And I will try that we, by our activities with facility points, propose some project regarding cleaning our part of I will say Europe continent, and I hope next time European Union countries. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Do we have some other questions?
Yes, comments.
And one comment from Dr. Prica.
If I may, just to complete, let's say, this question from northern part of the Adriatic, we do suffer also this improper waste management coming from transboundary, let's say, dynamics of the current going from the south to east, or from the west to eastern coast of the Trieste Bay, let's say, and we are trying also to do our best to contribute to minimize those impacts from land to sea. And to be positive, let's mention the first Slovenian, let's say, contribution, and it's only one. I hope the other will follow in the Adriatic basin. the wastewater treatment plan of municipality of Nova Gorica is now in operational more than 5 years, and it's very efficient by reducing the microplastic from the wastewater. For example, what is the huge problem in the coastal and marine waters in general, and also in Adriatic-Ionian ecoregions. And this is our small but very concrete contribution that the waters running from the river basins should be managed properly, also for the micro pollutants, where the microplastic is extremely important burden for the coastal and marine ecosystems. And here are, let's say, some significant steps in right direction, but of course we need concerted action, we need a transparent and fair approach, what we are looking forward now in the next green agenda of implementation European Green Deal. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Britzel. Did we receive any other questions? No? If not, on behalf of all speakers and myself, I would like to thank you very much for your attendance. Hope to see you soon and have a great day. Goodbye.